Welcome, everybody, whether you're on live or whether you're watching this recording. Thank you all. And Enrique reminds us it's going to be, I gather, cloudy on this coming Sunday. Weather report looks like it's going to start out a little chilly in the 50s and go up into the upper 60s by the time we finish midday at Century City. But here we go. Let me share a couple screens here. And whoops. Whoa, what happened there? Here we go. Good. And so thank you all for joining us, whether you're live or you're listening to the recording. And that's my book, all that. Okay, so we're going to talk about morning schedule, which I have. I'm going to show you all in a second. Morning race ritual. I think everybody needs to find the time, get there early, which we'll discuss in the next slide. Get there, the schedule, get there a little early, go to the bathroom, find a space with your group or without, where you can just sit, you can watch the stadium. There's absolutely nothing going on in the stadium. Pretty boring game. The lights are out. Otani's in bed, sleeping probably. Anyway, Freeman, same thing. Anyway, all those guys not there. But you could sit and watch the dark field, or you could join your group, hopefully eventually before we leave at 6 o'clock, by the way, 6 o'clock, we leave. We'll discuss that in a minute. Find time to sit by yourself quietly and have a morning ritual, just a moment to yourself to relax. Maybe it will be doing some warm-up stuff, though not too much. Maybe it will be, here's a good example of a ritual. You could even do this in the corral while you're waiting for everyone. You can do something that makes you feel at home. And I know I've discussed this before, but there was a famous basketball player once I heard in a lecture. He would, when he was doing a free throw, he would dribble the ball once, hold it, dribble it again, hold it, dribble it a third time, hold it, and then he would make his free throw shot. And somebody once asked him, why three? Always hold in between. He said, each one reminds me of my three kids. And so find some ritual that puts you at ease, makes you feel like you're at home. It could even be just putting your hand on a religious pendant, or it could be a prayer that you want to do, or really anything at all. But something that puts you at home and makes you feel at ease. Now, having said that, most of you, myself included, I'm not even running, are feeling a little nervous. And that is not an unusual thing to do. It only means that this thing you are involved with, this marathon in this case, means something to you. Because if the thing that you were nervous about didn't mean anything to you, you wouldn't be nervous. You might even be bored if it meant nothing to you at all. So find a ritual, find something that'll put you at ease, maybe even some gentle stretching, like I say, something you normally would do before a race. Now, we're going to go over the start area. I'm going to briefly again talk about the first 6 miles of the LA Marathon. I know you're probably sick to death of listening to me hearing about it, but it is so critical that you get that right. And then the finish area and parking. Parking is if you're parking in the finish area. That's why we'll talk about parking last, even though you're parking before the race. So here's our race day schedule. Please, the loge area where we are going to be, and it does say Charity Suites, LA Roadrunners on the sign. Whoops. Whoops. Where did that come from? Wait a minute. I just lose it. There we go. There we go. Whoops, I missed it. So here's our race day schedule. There is this picture. In this picture it will say Charity Suites, LARR, on the right field side of the stadium. Now, if you think about my hand as the stadium, the bottom of where my wrist is the batter's box. Now, the outfield out here is going to be my other hand's being held down by my dog. The outfield is where out here is where the buses are going to drop you off. The cars will drop you off on one side, buses on the other. I'll show you that in a minute. That's where you're going to be. So the right side of my hand, which will be the left side of where you're facing the baseball field, the opening for the field is out here, right? That's the outfield. And the right side of that field, where my pinky is where we are going to be. So the buses come in on the right side and the cars come in on the left side, and you walk around the back side of the field and you go right into the Charity Suites, the stairway. There will be security at the bottom of the stairway. There will be security at the top of the stairway. So you need to pass both security people with your wristband. More important reasons, get your wristband Friday or Saturday at the expo when you go to get your bib number. Bib number is on one side of the expo. Then there's the ASICS store outdoors in the middle. And then we are the other side of the ASICS store from where you pick up your bib number. We're on the same side, right after the ASICS store. We're on the same side as where the vendors are. So if you come in where the vendors are, we're right before the ASICS store. And then the bib numbers are after that. So make sure you get your wristband, and there you go. You may want to go get your bib number first. And if you had any questions, you can come to us and get your wristband, and we can help solve any problems that you have, including corral letter. You should have your bib will have like a letter B, as in B corral or a B, followed by like 5 numbers or 6 numbers, 5 numbers, or 4 numbers if you're really, really fast. At any rate, the letter on your bib number corresponds to the corral that you can go into. So there are like 6 or 7 lines. You can get into the line for corral A, and they will not give it to you unless you're going to be like a sub 320 marathoner, faster than 320 marathoner. Or you could get into line B, where all of us road runners are given corral B access, which again, I do not recommend unless you're like a 3:30 to 3:50 finish time marathoner, really fast. And also keep in mind your pace leaders. We are race day, unfortunately, we are the official pace leaders for the entire marathon, not just for our little groups. We are it for everybody, and we help organize the entire race by where we stand with our signs. Interestingly enough, while I'm thinking about it, here are our new pace leader signs. Whoops. There you go. Whoop. I don't know if you can see that clearly. Maybe not. I don't know why I have the blur thing on, but that's our new pace leader sign. Oh, there we go. You can see a little of it. Anyway, they're kind of cute, colorful, and Lucy designed them. So thank you, Lucy. At any rate, so that's all well and good. If you're in a closed corral, because your Santa Monica pace leader is in a closed corral, Griffith Park and Balboa Park will all be in the open corrals from 3:30 to 5 hours and slower. Will all be in the open corral from Balboa Park and Griffith Park. Any pace leader, corral E, closed corral E, ends with 5 hours. So even the Santa Monica pace groups that are slower than 5 hours, they will all be, in the open corral as well. So keep that in mind if you want to run with your pace leaders or run, walk, or walk. Our our 3:30 to 5 hour from Balboa Park and Griffith Park will be in the open corral. Any group slower than 5 hour from any location will be in the open corral in order, spaced out, holding up that sign. So if you lose them going up to the open corral or closed corral, you'll kind of know where they are in advance. Ask them about where they will be, and you'll see their signs. There are also on the sides of the corral, the open corral, not the closed, but the sides of the open corral, on both walls, there are these 10-foot fences with green mesh on them, so you can't really see through them that well. But these 10-foot fences of, I think that back, I guess they're like 8-foot fences. At any rate, with green mesh on them, on both sides of both fences on either side, they will have paces, marathon race pace. Now, I believe they start at like 8 or 9 minute per mile pace. 3:30 would be an 8 minute per mile pace. And then they go every minute, 8, 9. I think they started 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not sure that they go back to 14, 15, but our pace leaders will be spread out evenly beyond that. We will actually even be beyond where those walled-in fences are in the open corral, because the open corral does extend beyond, around the corner and beyond those closed fences. So be aware where your pace leaders are on race day morning. And feel free to ask us, and we'll tell you exactly what corral they will be in. They've already been sent the list of corrals and where they'll be. A couple times they've been sent it. So looking at this race day schedule, the loge area, this picture right here up above in Dodger Stadium where we will all be, that opens at 4:45. So if you're there at 4 in the morning, you're just out on the stadium parking lot. 4:45, go over that stairway and you'll be able to get in. But you can't get in before 4:45. I'm recommending that everybody get there before 5 o'clock, because there is a backup traffic, depending on how you're coming in. And I'll show you that this starting area and how you get into that in a minute. But this says we recommend arriving no later than 5:15. Man, that only gives you about 45 minutes to stand online, go to the bathroom. And yes, we have a couple different bathrooms, and they're not porta potties. They're our own, Dodger Stadium indoor bathrooms, and with several stalls in each. I find they do back up a little bit, especially the women's bathroom. So, the earlier you get there, go right to the bathroom, and you won't have a line at all, at 5, or even especially not 4:45. But I reckon 5:15, 45 minutes before we all leave. That's not a lot of time to eat something, go to the bathroom, unwind, do a little ritual. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I recommend a little before 5. So 6 a.m. we are out the door. But by out the door, I mean to that little area, it's actually a huge plaza. We're talking about 700 people that will be there, piling into this little plaza. And it's right outside the door from where we're all going to be standing or sitting in the hallway there, or sitting in the bleachers right next to the hallway. The one side is open to the stadium, you should know. And you could sit on the bleachers in most cases, unless security is a little nuts. But at any rate, they usually let us sit there. But at 6 o'clock, we are all going to go out to that plaza. We are going to have a giant picture with everybody. So you're all going to have to kind of cram into a little space. Right after the picture, as soon as we get everybody organized and the person, the professional photographer, standing on a chair takes the picture, I'll have like 2 minute, 3 minute lecture, just a story I do every year, every race. Well, Roseville Half and LA Marathon I do. The LA is kind of the big one. And then we all go out to we all leave for the starting line and gear check at 6:15. And I'll show you this in a second, but right outside the stairs, right outside these stairs that you're looking at in this picture, it says race day schedule behind it, behind that, where those stairs are, right over here, it is, basically to your right when you're coming down the stairs. Right there is the UPS trucks where you can take your clear plastic bag that you get at bid pickup. Your bib will be, they'll hand you a clear plastic bag. They'll throw your bib in there, pick up some safety pins and throw them in there with it. They'll be free at the little desk where you go to get your stand in line and get your bib, the safety pins. You'll get your free shirt there. They'll have some other things in there, but it will be a clear plastic bag. Use that clear plastic bag. It's got a nice drawstring. You can kind of tie it with a bow so you can get it open easier. But and if you make a mistake and you have to throw something else in, you don't have to tear the thing open because you've knotted it. So tie it with a little bow. It makes things life a little easier. At any rate, you write your bid number in the little white squares that appear on the outside of that clear plastic bag. They demand that you only use that bag. So you cannot throw a big, you can't throw a gym bag on the UPS truck because they don't know what's inside of it. But the clear plastic bags, they can easily see what's inside of it. They know that there's nothing in there, that's illegal or whatever. I do not recommend putting anything expensive in there. If you have a really old cell phone that you're not worried about losing or getting whatever, I've done that. But a brand new, nice, exciting cell phone, I wouldn't put it in there. You can always leave it in your car. And then after the race, if you're parked in Century City, go to your car and then call people and then go back inside for the beer garden and meeting friends and family, whatever. There's always a way around not having a phone with you immediately. But take a coat. I said it's going to be cold in the morning. Take a coat that you can throw into this clear plastic bag and write your number, your bib number, not your name. They don't know your name. Write your bib number on that clear plastic bag. Then the UPS are all lined up. The truck on the left will start, it'll have numbers on the sides of each one of these trucks. On the outside back, where the tailgate goes up, right? It'll start with like 0 to 1,000. Next truck, 1,001 to 2,000. Next truck, 2,001 to 3,000. On and on and on and on. Whatever your bib number is, go to that truck with your number in that category on the back of the truck, hand it to the person on the back of the truck. They will put it in order by number on the truck. And when you show up at the finish line wearing your bib number, they'll know, that's your gear bag. They will find your number in order. So not too tough to find. They'll find your gear bag. They'll hand it to you. You're off and running. So that's an important thing. Gear check does close at 6:30, but we'll make sure we are done and out the door at 6:15. So really, when we say we're leaving at 6 o'clock, we really, really, really need everybody to up and move at 6 o'clock. because it's going to take a long time to organize everybody in that little area for the picture. And then I got like 2, 3 minute little, story that I tell every race. So please, get everybody to get moving with you. Seated corrals close at 6:40, but honestly, the seated corrals have people kind of out the gate a little bit. Not everybody quite fits into those are the closed corrals, A through E. The open corral stays open. You can always, once the race starts, you can always kind of jump into the closed corral if you have a letter that corresponds with that corral. Race starts 7 o'clock. So we'll have 45 minutes to walk to our corrals. Well, gear check, walk to our corrals. Our pace leaders will hopefully be in their corrals with 30 minutes to go. It's good to because it's going to be a little chilly. It's good to take something that's a throwaway garment. I know people go to thrift stores, they'll buy a winter jacket, then they'll leave that winter jacket as soon as the gun goes off and they start walking to the start line. They'll start shedding that winter coat and they'll hand it off to the side so people don't trip over the clothes. Don't leave clothes on the ground, even though you're abandoning them. Try and get them over to the side by one of the fences left or right. Same thing with any water bottles you have. You don't want someone to trip over your water bottle. And please don't throw a water bottle. You'll hit somebody in the head. Hand it over, and people are very generous. And you could say, could you put this water bottle to the side? They're glad to help you out. The same thing with throwaway garments. Can you hand this off to the side? They're glad to do it. Just to get it out of the way of the people behind who are coming. We don't want them tripping over garments and bottles and whatever. There's enough of that that's going to be out there anyway. But also I recommend, if you don't want to go to a thrift shop, which is fine, and you don't want to be standing out there freezing, although 22,000 people huddled together, it does generate some heat, I mean, there's no question about it, especially within those fences where the wind is it's a bit of a barricade for wind, a bit. At any rate, there's nothing above, obviously, but except for helicopters flying around and people holding balloons up there in the air. But at any rate, you may want to take a garbage bag and slit, if you imagine a garbage bag upside down, cut a slit in kind of the bottom of the garbage bag where your head can fit, enough for your head to fit, big enough, and then cut a slit in the side bottom side of the garbage bag, and the other side of the garbage bag for your arms to fit through. And you basically have a waterproof, pretty warm plastic bag. You can even do 2 plastic bags. And that'll hold, keep away a little of the wind. It's like a good windbreaker. It's not going to rain, so you don't have to worry about that, but it's a good rain poncho as well. And that you can just, tear off and throw away. What the hell? It's a garbage bag. Again, try and get it over to the side. You'll see a million of those makeshift garbage bag poncho things. No need to go to a store and buy a throwaway poncho for $5. Just get a garbage bag or 2 or 3. That'll, do okay. Throw your coat, whatever, on the truck, and you could even run with your garbage bag on. They'll see your bib number underneath especially if it's clear. Even if it's, not clear, they'll kind of see your bib number. But yeah, do something like that. You could even run with it for the first few miles if you would like. So let me shut this down and go to the starting line of the LA Marathon.
Question for you.
Yeah,
Sorry, I know
yeah.
this is not necessarily part of this whole talk, but just a
Mhm.
question. Sometimes I get, the running, the cramp in your rib almost. And I was just wondering if you had any tips or tricks to help, like what you could do when you get that
I do, let me
side
address that
stitch.
in just a little bit. As soon as I'm done, I'm not going to go much longer.
Sounds good.
Um, and
Is
I
also
will definitely stay online until everybody is done, with anything that you have a question about. So hopefully you guys can see, and I will absolutely, I want to answer that question as
And
best I
thank
can.
you, Coach Dave.
That's a tough one.
Is it possible to see the recording? I have somewhere that I need to go, and I wish I could stay for the whole talk. But there an email that I
Absolutely.
can email you at, or like just listen?
You can see the recording on Facebook.
Okay.
And you can also see the recording on our YouTube site. There's a link to the YouTube site on our Facebook that'll go up later tonight, as soon as I'm
Okay,
done.
fabulous. I know I won't be here, but if you could answer that question, or if there's some other way that I can contact you, that would be amazing.
Sure, you got it.
Okay.
Or just send me a text or an email
Okay.
to
How do I get that information? Sorry.
here's my phone number for all you guys. If you have a text, I'm not going to be around email tomorrow. 310
Mm-hmm.
339 1192. That's 310 339 1192. And yeah, send me a text, anybody.
Amazing.
I'm going to be at the expo all day tomorrow, or ask me in person. I'd be glad to
Fabulous.
talk to you at the expo.
Thank
So
you so much, Coach
you
David. Really
got it.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for asking. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Good. So here's our stadium. Here is where this is where the corrals are. This is the race day setup. Okay. Now the expo is actually in this area here. You will walk through the corrals. You will see the 10-foot walls. They will not have the ABCD up yet. They will not have the numbers of the paces up yet in the open corrals. I mentioned like 9, 10, 11, 12 minute, 13, 14-minute paces on the either wall of the open corral. None of that will be up yet, but the fenced 8-foot walls, whatever they are, they're certainly taller than 6. They're not quite 10. Those real walls with the green on them will be right in here. And you'll have to walk over to here where there's an entry into, all this will be the expo where my cursor is. Over here will be the bid number pickup, this whole area here. Entry will be right in here somewhere. Otherwise, it'll all be fenced in, security. And there will also be a fence over here that you can get in. All this kind of brown area will be where our vendors are. The ASICS store is right where it says ASICS. We will be right over here, kind of opposite where it says Corral C, although you won't see Corral C on race day. Like I said, the corrals will be there, but the letters and numbers will not. But we'll be like right next to, about 100 meters away from the ASIC store, 50 meters away from the ASIC store, over where my cursor is. And race day, see what it says Charity Suites over here? There we go, a little closer. Where it says Charity Suites over here. Whoops, sorry, get rid of that. There we go. Right there is a walkway. There's a walkway, and that walkway takes you right up into the loge area in here, and that's where we will be on race day morning. So that's where our awning will be on the expo. It will be gone race day morning. All this will be open. There will be a band here playing race day morning. UPS trucks are right over here. So when you leave the loge area, when you leave our area where we'll be in the morning, you walk right down this sidewalk, boom, you're right in front of the UPS trucks. Got it? There will be, just to give you a perspective, there will be a giant white tent for VIP right over here, and then the UPS trucks right after that. Buses will be coming in this way. Cars, this is right off the 5 freeway, the exit off the 5 freeway. Cars will not be able to get in this way. It will be buses only. However, Scott Avenue, right over here. When we came in the other day when we went to the stadium for our 6 mile plus run. Vin Scully was. Does somebody have a question? Anyway, Vin Scully is the way we came in that day. Vin Scully will be closed for the perfect reason that Vin Scully is the way the race will go. The race, here you go. The race starts, that's your starting line, right where we were on our 6 mile run. It runs out this way up the hill and then goes out Vin Scully. There's another entryway that will be open for cars on this side of the stadium off of like Sunset is way out here. Then you drive in Scott. You could come in Vince Scully up to Stadium Way, turn left on Stadium Way, then you come in Scott Avenue, Scott Boulevard, whatever it is, will bring you into here. And if you're being dropped off, there will be a little circle right in here where my cursor is. So stay on the left side of the street. You'll go there, get dropped off, and then your car will drive right out again. If you're parking, you can pull in and stay on the right lane and you park in over here. All the cars parked will basically be over here on race day morning. For the expo, you can park, most of the parking will be up in this area here, lot K, or there will be some parking down over here as well. That's for the expo. Well, I don't think there's any parking over here because that's where the buses go race day morning. At any rate, so that's our starting line and where we will be. Any questions on that so far? Yeah, I see a hand go up.
Yes, that's me. Thanks,
Hi.
Chris. So, quick question. Do you recommend going straight to Dodger Stadium or taking the shuttle from Century City to Dodger Stadium?
Well, if you're going to go to the stadium and go straight to the stadium, thank you for that question. There is zero transportation to the stadium, public transportation or race transportation, unless somehow you get lucky and find somebody who's going there. But you'd really need a friend, family member, or somebody to drop you off at the stadium. And the stadium, you need to have your car out by, I believe it's like 6 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Or I believe they start towing cars.
Okay.
So yes, it is absolutely free to park at the stadium, but there's not an easy way to get back there unless you have friends or family. I worked out a whole thing with my wife because I drive away from the stadium. So I'm dropping her off and I'm taking her car. I'm dropping her at the part where we're going to park in Century City. And the night before, I will be parking my car in a residential area. So when we take her car, I'll just keep it and drop it off at the garage, and she'll have it to drive home, and I'll have my car there from the night before to drive home. So it's this long, involved thing with my wife and I. But yeah, I do drive her to the stadium with me. But then I drive out of the stadium with her car. Anyway.
So are there any Uber or taxi drop-offs at the stadium?
Yeah, you could get an Uber or a taxi drop off later in the day after you finish the marathon.
No, I mean in the morning, like to get there.
You could do that in the morning as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, have them go. You cannot get in off the freeway. Have them go via, Sunset Stadium Way and Scott Avenue into the stadium, stay in the left lane. Tell them to get in the left lane so they can circle around, drop you off, and go out. Keep in mind, you'll have to walk through security. Security is like kind of over here somewhere, is security. Race day morning, that's security. Metal detector, the whole 9 yards. They have rows of security lines with each one having a metal detector. You have to walk all the way across this. All this will be empty, except for about 22,000 people. And then you'll have to walk all the way around to where we will be. Busing, you're going to just walk right into where we will be. So the bus is a little easier first thing in the morning. You don't have to worry about getting there because of all the street closures or whatever. I found barricades when I drive there. It's a nightmare. Getting to there with a car, but I do it every year. There you go. Also, you won't have your car at the finish line, although I did just pay $38 total. That included an extra fee, 38 bucks to park at Century City. So there was that added expense I just paid for, just to have my wife's car in a parking garage where she can walk to it and leave. I'm staying at the finish line. At any rate, and I will be at the finish line when you all finish. I'll be there when our first pace leader arrives. At any rate, till well beyond the last.
So,
And I
so
think,
shuttle seems easier than it, like all things considered.
well, if you don't mind paying for the garage, a garage, and we're going to discuss that in a minute, I think personally it's a little easier to just jump on a bus and let the driver do the driving and not have to get your car after the race down at Dodger Stadium. That's my take on it. I would find it a complete nuisance being exhausted after a marathon. You have to get all the way back down to Dodger Stadium to get your car before 6 o'clock before they tow it. And they're like, oh God, what a nightmare. But, if you have some friends who are willing to drive you down there, then drive all the way home, wherever. If you live near Dodger Stadium, great, by all means, drive the stadium, get a quick lift, drive short distance home. If you live in Hollywood, that kind of thing. I live about as far away as you can go west without getting wet, if you know what I mean. I live in Santa Monica, pretty right down the street from where we meet in Santa Monica every Saturday morning in Santa Monica. But so for me, that'd be just the wrong idea. But yeah, you live in Hollywood, I think that would be dependent on you and where you live, probably. So without further ado, let's close this one down and move on to the next one. Hopefully now we're going to the finish line. Before that, I do want to make a mention because this is important. So after you start, let's go back to that. Right after you start, this whole red area right here, and then it actually veers off to the right when you're doing it. This is the way you're going. Follow the arrow. It veers off to the right and then goes out Vin Scully Way, the way you drove in and out when we were there for the 6 miler. Right off the bat, right as you round that corner, it's an uphill. And I forgot what it is. I want to say it was like a 50-foot vertical and about a third of a mile, something like that. But 50 feet and a third of a mile is fairly steep. So here's what happens. You will hear people say, come on, you got the energy, use it, take the hill, let's go. Come on, you guys, you can do this. All well-meaning. Do not listen to any of that well-meaning BS. Because already, if you right around that corner is where the hill begins. There's your starting line. What is that? Not even 50 feet? Right around the corner where that hill begins, your heart rate is going to go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And dramatically, you're going to start depleting. Your glycogen levels are going down, 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 and down. And the problem with these people is they go out the gate of the stadium. They go down that little hill to Stadium Way, and they go up that little hill away from Stadium Way on Vin Scully. They take a left on Sunset, as you all did on that 6 miler. You will be in the middle of the street. The streets are closed. You will not be on a sidewalk. Forget the sidewalk. Take the center of the street where it's flattest. And by the way, most streets are angled for water runoff. Find the flattest part of the street and stay there. Usually it is the middle, right? Because the spill off is on either side. Occasionally the flatter part will be on one side or the other, but almost always it's in the middle. run down the middle. Stay where it's flat so you're balanced. You're not putting more weight on one leg than the other because you're on a downhill running or an angle running, I should say. Anyway, to continue. So their heart rates are already elevated. Now they're going downhill on Sunset, that nice mile and a third, mile and a half downhill before the where it levels off in Chinatown. You take a left under that big gate for Chinatown. Well, all that downhill you're going to be hearing, use the downhill. Come on, you guys, use the downhill. Let's go. And these people are going to be charging by you. So already their heart rates are elevated, their glycogen levels are dropping because they're using it. You know, the higher your heart rate, the quicker, the more you tap into that limited reservoir of glycogen. You run low on glycogen down to about 40%. You don't really ever run out of it, but down to about 40%, your subconscious brain says, nope, we're shutting down. And that's where you hit the wall, you bonk, you crash, whatever you want to call it. You're just not going anywhere like you were previously. You're feeling as if you're pushing through a wall, hence the term, you hit the wall. That's what it kind of feels like. You're just pushing through this barrier that you weren't moments ago. And for any runner, it usually means you're suddenly, without reason, just walking because you run low on glycogen. So take that uphill slow, and then take that downhill on Sunset kind of reasonably well. You know what I'm saying? Don't go crazy with it. I would recommend even doing that downhill because it's still a warm up. It's still within your first, the start of it is within your first mile of the LA Marathon. Well, I think the bottom of it is about mile 2, but it's still certainly within the first mile. You're still warming up. You know, Jeff Galloway with the run walk has always said the first 2-3 miles are really should be your slowest miles of the entire marathon. So you can save it up for the end, for the last few miles. So marathon race pace on that nice downhill on Sunset. Okay. Way faster than that. Oh, no. Don't go there. Don't follow those crazy people who are like, use the downhill, use the down. I swear you will hear that. I bet money. Anyway, so good. That is your starting line. Let's go to the finish line. And tell me, can all you guys see this? Hopefully can you all see the finish line? Yeah, good. Thank you. So we are looking at the finish line, and actually
Make it a little bigger?
What?
Can you make it a little bigger?
Oh, let me try. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if the colors that. There we go. It's a little bigger. Is that a little better? Well, we don't need finish line at Avenue of the Stars. We don't really need that. So you can see what's down here. At any rate, this is the 2025 map. This is the map that has been online for a while. You'll note the beer garden used to be over here on this grassy lawn. It is no longer going to be here. On the map, it does actually show where the beer garden will currently be, and that's the middle of the Century City Mall, the Westfield Century City Mall, right in the middle of the first floor. That's where the beer garden will be. And so there you go. All these P's are parking either in the mall, outside the mall. There's more parking up here. There's parking over here, I believe. And I think there's even one below. Yeah, there's one over on Century Park West is parking. Oh, no, that's entrance to the mall. Oh, there it is. Fox Hills right here. There's also parking right over here on that building that kind of goes, it's right off of Century Hills Drive, like one block, very small block from Century Park West. So at any rate, here is your route in red, which we'll discuss in a moment. And I don't have much to talk about here on this one, but you will know when you're coming at about mile 18, when you're coming from where my cursor is, from Beverly Hills up here, and you're coming, this is about mile 18, when you cross the finish line, which is over here. You're kind of crossing down this way where my cursor goes. That's about mile 18.1. Then you're going out to Brentwood, right? Remember that we got 4 miles out, 4 miles back. We discussed that last week. That video is still online and always will be. You can get that either click on the link on Facebook, just cursor way down, you'll find that link, or go to our YouTube and all the videos that are there, like 40 YouTube videos. If you ever need something to help put you to sleep at night, go to our YouTube videos. You can sit and listen to hours and hours and hours of me endlessly talking on about running and the LA Marathon. However, when you come back, let me show you something. When you come back over here, before you get to this picture, actually, before you get to the red, is Beverly Glen. And there is a good little short downhill right into the intersection of Beverly Glen, then a little uphill from Beverly Glen to about Century Park, almost to Century Park West, certainly to this street here, Fox Hills Drive. And then it's pretty much levels off going all the way to the finish line. Might be a hair uphill, not much of anything even recognizable as an uphill. But use that glycogen, the last couple miles. I've discussed this before, figure out where you are in the last 80 minutes to go at your average marathon race pace, MRP. And that's where you can speed up. If you're feeling good, use it. Kick in the afterburners, as Coach Connolly used to say, and go for it. Use up the last of, or the rest of your usable volume of glycogen. Obviously, like I say, you can't use it all up. Your body won't, your subconscious brain won't allow it. At any rate, so that's the finish area. UPS trucks are usually, where are they? It says UPS, gear check. UPS trucks, those little dotted lines right here in navy blue, that's where your gear check trucks will be, as they were last year. Medical tent, it's a big tent. If you're really not feeling good after you finish, cross the finish line, there will be a ton of people with wheelchairs. They're rarely used, but ask somebody, if your ankle is killing you, could you get a ride in the wheelchair to the tent, just to help them with your ankle or whatever? They'll maybe stabilize your ankle a little bit or whatever. Right there is the hospital tent. Usually not a lot of people in it. I'm not expecting a lot because it's not going to be a hot day on Sunday, this Sunday. Like noon, 2 o'clock, might get up to upper 60s. So not horrible at all. Make sure you're getting in enough sodium, however. Depending on what your needs are. If you sweat a lot, you're going to need more, maybe 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I have one heavy sweater who needs 2,000 milligrams an hour, but he's just dripping sweat. I mean, it's like a shower coming off of him when he's running on a treadmill fast. At any rate,
Coach, let's go in order. The big thing after the finish line is the medal handout. Let's go there first.
Well, hang on, we're getting there. So I'm going in reverse. So right over here, you will be able to get kind of like a Mylar sheet, and it's good to have to keep you warmer, because your body temperature does drop after you finish a marathon, after you stop. Your movement generates a lot of heat. And when you stop and you're just slowly walking through this finish corral with a lot of people there, so you're not going to be able to run through it, grabbing a Mylar sheet can sometimes help keep you from catching a cold. You're more susceptible to upper respiratory illness after a marathon. Most of us are always healthy, and a day later, from all of this exercise, your immune system is even stronger. But during periods of extreme fatigue, like after a marathon, there are short periods where you are more susceptible. You can grab one of those little Mylar thin sheets. It's the same material that your bar, that your bar will be wrapped in, that silver material. Anyway, moving forward, or moving backward, I should say, there's food in here, this whole area. We will have our pace leader signs dropped off if you're a pace leader right after the McCourt Foundation awning, which will be to the right as you enter the finish corral. And like I said, there will be all sorts of wheelchairs right after you cross the finish line. If you need one, rarely are they ever used, but there are a ton of them just in case, usually more for a hot day. But do please feel free to use one if you're really beaten up and whatever. Now, what you've all been waiting for, this is the finish line for the LA Marathon. You'll note there will be half marathoners coming in here. They will not be going out again with you. They will be just taking kind of a left turn into the finish area and the finish line, where you will be hitting this red line coming back from Brentwood, and the finish line for you is right there. And there you have it. You will definitely see me standing right in this area somewhere in here. And give me a high five. If you want a hug, I'm always glad to give you a hug. I don't care how sweaty you are. I will not hug you unless you hug me. That's kind of the rule. If you want a hug, I am there. If not, no problem. I'm not going to engage a hug. I don't want to offend anyone with my hugging. At any rate, all well and good. Then you walk all the way around, like I said before, gear check. And this whole area is still part of the finish area. You walk right into the mall. There's steps right up here. And here's the beer garden and all of that. So that is the finish line of the LA Marathon. I pretty much got nothing more. Does anybody have any questions at this point having to do with anything I just said? Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll answer personal questions. Anybody, anything else?
I have a question. I have a couple
Yeah.
questions actually.
Sure,
Hi,
regarding the course.
Hi. What's that?
Regarding the course, yeah.
Yeah, regarding the course and the finish line specifically, I have two questions that are kind of tied together. One,
Great.
is the beer garden open to spectators or just runners? And sort of tied into that, are we going to get a link that we can send our friends and family so they're able to see where we are on the course?
Okay, yeah, two questions really. Thank you, good questions. I appreciate that. I should go and find and show you where the link is, but at any rate, first, no, unfortunately, if you're not, here's the thing. On your bib number, you got a bib number, it's about this big by this big. At the very bottom of it will be this perforated little kind of tag along the whole bottom of your bib. It's about that tall. It's about 1.5, maybe 2 inches tall. Your bib number will be above it, right? And do not tear that off. If you want, and I do recommend this, kind of tuck it underneath your bib number so it's not quite in your way. But after the race, to get into the beer garden, that little tag at the bottom of your bib will, one, get you into the beer garden, two, get you a free drink of either alcohol beer or non-alcohol beer, one or the other. And they tear that tag off and they keep it after they give you one alcoholic beer or the other, or none. Got it? So you need that little tag.
So spectators can't go to the beer garden then?
No, but they can go into the mall with you, and the beer garden isn't such a huge area where you're going to completely lose them. You can go in, grab a beer, you can come out, go to lunch with your friends and family. Usually, late in the day, you can pretty much do what you please. You can easily walk into the beer garden. Anyone can. pretty much. But when it's really jam-packed, they do have security there, keeping our people, the race athletes in the beer garden, everyone out of it. It just become a little too crowded. This is a new area this year. I'm assuming they're going to keep everyone out of it who does not have a bib number on. I'm assuming. We'll see. They may be able to kind of sneak in there and no one will care. That does happen. In general, maybe don't plan on having them.
So I won't use it as a meeting place. That's why I was also wondering about the link so people could see where I am on the course so that they know what time to come meet me.
Right. I'm going to have to find it, and I will. But that's the other great question, is there is a link where you can type in other people's phone numbers or emails, and every time you pass one of those, strips on the concrete that's probably about 2 feet wide and goes across most of the width of the entire street, and there's usually some yellow on either side of it. That little raised bump where you hear a lot of beeping, that beeping is all those bib numbers being recorded. When you hit one of those, they will know where you are immediately when that beep goes off, when your bib number goes off. By the way, everyone, make sure you check your bib number. Every so often, somebody will get a bib number that is not functioning. Every so often, maybe one in every couple thousand, it happens every year. There are a few. If you do get one, you can always ask them to check it. They can put it on a scanner and boom, your name and address and all that will pop up. Oftentimes they do have a scanner like at the end of the table that you can use, or they will direct you to that scanner if they don't have one sitting next to you. Use that scanner and check and make sure your bib is working. Oftentimes you can take your whole goodie bag and just dump it right on the scanner and boom, your thing will activate the scanner. But do check out your chip on the back of your bib and make sure it's functioning. And it has your name and everything on it. Like I say, every so often you get a bib that's not functional. If you did and you didn't check it, you can send in your time and they will record the time on your watch. So if you have a recorded time on your watch, they do also have cameras around the course at each one of these things that record where you are at a certain time on the course. So they can actually verify that what you're telling them of your finish time is actually accurate. And they can find you with that camera and your bib number. So you can't cheat. There's really no cheating. And people have tried and they get kicked out permanently. We've had people run with a guy run with a woman's bib number on and get kicked out of Daily Marathon permanently because the video showed a guy with a woman's bib number, and you get the picture. Anyway, so please don't swap out bibs.
Okay,
You get
Coach.
into real trouble.
Yes, Coach. The final information lists a phone app that you're to download. And the first question is, are you a spectator or are you a participant?
Oh, yeah. Hang on, yeah, there is an app. It is a link on the LA Marathon site that you have to click on. I'd have to find the link. I think what I'm going to do right now, before we get into a lot of questions, is turn off the recording and say goodnight to all those watching virtually at home. And I see 66 people online right now. Hang on, and we're going to answer all of your questions, and I'll try and find that link on the website in just a moment.
Coach David, hold on, because remember you're going to answer the question about the rib problems for the person that had to jump off because she's going to jump on the.
I'm actually, well, I was actually going to do that via text. I was hoping.
Oh, just kidding.
So, okay. Anyway, with that, I bid all of you watching at home virtually, I bid you a good night. Everybody of you 66 folk online live, stay online. Good night. Hang on. live people. Whoop, that didn't work. Okay. Oh, here we go. Good night again, virtual people.